Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Polygon Matic. I do want to say that I'm not a financial advisor. You should do your own research before investing money into crypto. If you haven't seen the previous update, make sure to watch that before watching this one. It's going to be linked in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Now, jumping into the TA. On the daily chart, we do have a Fibonacci retracement set up over here. If you don't know how to use a Fibonacci retracement, there's going to be a link down below in the description where I explain a video where I explain how to use the Fibonacci retracement, how to set technical targets based off the levels that you get here with the retracement. So if you haven't really learned anything about the Fib, watch that video and then come back to this one. So here we have the swing high printed December 2021, and the swing low was printed all the way down here June 2022. Since then, we've started moving up. We ran into the golden ratio, which was a negative signal because once you fail to break through the golden ratio, you typically see a retracement all the way down to where you came from. Now, this is a very unique instance where we didn't actually see that. Instead, we had a nice double bottom pattern here. And now we're breaking a major resistance level, which was sitting at $1.04. And as you can see, we're potentially going to come back up and retest the golden ratio once again at $1.25. So that's going to be another level where you can take some profits and potentially swing trade, right? If I just zoom, increase that, move it to the right side. And yeah, so you do have this resistance block as well. We ran into that resistance block last time here in November, and I did swing trade this perfectly. I sold, I think, at $1.29 or something like that, right at the very top, and I bought back in at $1.02. So this resistance block is based off of all of these local lows that we printed throughout 2021 and 2022. And we retested it as resistance once in November last year, and potentially, like I said, we could see another retest here. Now, if we are super bullish and we continue above that, then your next major target is going to be $1.81.5. And then I would be looking for a pullback into the golden ratio, and hopefully we could hold that as support. But I don't think all of this would be sustainable over time. Even this isn't sustainable right now because we're quite overextended from the 20 EMA, which is the yellow EMA here, the yellow moving average. As you can see, once you're that overextended from it, you typically see a pullback, and usually you do lose it as support, and you come back down to the 55 EMA, which is the red moving average here. But for entries, I would be targeting potentially the 0.5. That's going to be a nice entry, a nice safe entry if you don't want to wait longer. Potentially, you're afraid that we're going to have another bounce to the upside. Then you can enter at the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level here at 0.9589. And that's also where this local high was in early December. But you could also target the 55 EMA. But if you're waiting for a deeper pullback, you could be waiting to get into this, get into the project off of this support block. So as you can see, the last retest we had off of this support block was at the end of December, early January. So January 2nd is when we started getting the boost or the pump. And we're actually up around 58.7%. So this was a perfect entry point for anyone looking to swing trade or to have a nice short-term trade, because in less than a month you made 60%. That's pretty cool in a bear market, believe me. So that's regarding the support and resistance levels that we have. If I jump into the daily RSI, you can see that we were holding this support block since May 2022, and each time you had a bounce or you had a touch, you saw a very strong bounce to the upside. And then we lost it in December last year. We had this pullback, right? And I thought we were going to see a retest of this low that we printed in September of 2022. That did not end up happening. We got down close to that level, and then we saw this incredibly strong move to the upside. And then when we started retracing, look where we ended up. We ended up exactly in the support block, and that's exactly where we started to bounce once again. So as you can see, this support block is pretty important for us. So I don't know if we're going to hold it as support again, but I would just extend this further up to see what's going to happen once we start coming back down to it. This would definitely be a good entry point in my honest opinion. The white trend line here I don't think is that important right now, but we do have multiple touches off of this white trend line. So just for the sake of having it and having multiple support levels, we can add it because you do have multiple bounces since January off of this trend line, even though we did fake out below it multiple times. So I'll just keep that here. We almost got to the resistance block above us, the one that we retested multiple times. So once in October 21, once in July 22, and almost once again here in November 22, once again in January 23, almost getting there. So right now we're very close to the overbought, and I think we're going to be seeing a pullback. And if Bitcoin decides to see a stronger pullback, then altcoins will definitely, have that bearish cross come into play on the daily chart, which is when the 20 crosses below the 55. That's the opposite of what we had here. So this is a semi-bullish signal during a bear market on the daily chart. Once you have that, you can try to enter, but at that point, as you can see, you were pretty overextended already, but you were sitting at 93 cents. And from that point there, from that 93 cents, you still got up 29%. So this was a good entry point and a good take profit, for example, here at the yellow resistance trend line, 14.5%. That's pretty good. That is a really good trade. So that's what I have for Polygon Matic on the daily. Let's switch over to the weekly chart on Binance. And before we continue, I quickly want to ask you, do you value your privacy? If the answer is yes, then you must take a look at ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN offers you the privacy that you deserve, no activity logs and no connection logs. Your internet provider won't be able to access anything, and anyone using the same open free Wi-Fi in the cafe as you won't be able to do any harm or breach your security. You can use the ExpressVPN application on any device. You can connect it to your PlayStation, or you can even connect it to your router so that anyone who connects is automatically secured. Or if you're looking to access any region-blocked content on your streaming platform, well, ExpressVPN can do that as well. If you're living in the Netherlands and you want to access a TV show that's only available in Japan, well, my friend, you can do that with ExpressVPN. You can use the link down below in the description and get a discounted price along with 3 extra months for free. You can get your money back if you don't like it, but I don't see any reason why you wouldn't like it because we all need the privacy, and in today's age especially. And you can also pay with Bitcoin, so that's a really cool feature as well. And let's get on with the video. Jumping into the weekly chart, as you can see, we are above the 20 EMA, which is pretty good. We're also above the 55 EMA. We do have a bit of a different Fibonacci retracement here. As you know, I like to have different charts or different indicators on different charts and different Fibonacci retracements. So we have the swing high in October 22, and we have the swing low in September last year. So as you can see, we started retracing down, and I thought we were going to at least backtest the yellow support trend line that we backtested here in September. That did not end up happening. This was a very good entry point, would have been a good entry point at the yellow trend line. That didn't end up happening. Worst case scenario, we could have come down to the 69-cent area, which is the swing low of the fib. And from there, we started pumping, and right now we're running into the 0.236. So potentially we could see a pullback towards the 55 EMA. Currently, that's sitting at 97 cents. So that's going to be a good entry point for anyone looking to enter Polygon Matic. However, I'm not saying that there isn't a possibility where we go and drop even lower and potentially come back down below 70 cents. That's also possible. You have to look at Bitcoin. Things aren't looking very good in the terms of the macroeconomy. So I think a strong pullback is going to be coming around. And if the FOMC meeting goes through with a 50 basis points hike in February, then that's going to be a massive pullback we're going to be looking for crypto, not a flash crash per se, but we're going to see a pretty strong pullback because everyone is expecting a 25 basis points hike. So if they surprise everyone right now, then obviously we're going to see a pullback. The S&P 500 is going to see a pullback as well, and I think that's happening February 1st. So in just a couple of days here, we're going to be seeing the results of the latest FOMC meeting. So the 20 MA currently is sitting at 90 cents. So if we see that bullish cross on the weekly chart, that is going to be a major buy signal in my opinion, because usually the weekly chart bullish cross is the most important one you should be looking for. And now what could be happening here as well is that we could be seeing a double top pattern with a potential target to the downside. Once we lose 78 cents, we might be coming back down to around 50 cents per token. Now that's going to be negative, obviously, but for me that would be positive because I get to buy into Polygon Matic at very, very cheap prices. So of course, I would like to see that, but breaking this high here would be important right now, because if we don't, we're creating that double top pattern. And if we lose the neckline here, which would be sitting at 76 cents, if you lose that neckline, you're going to have a target down, okay, to around about 55 cents. Actually, we can measure that right now. Why don't we do that real quick? So what you do is you take a trend line from the top to the neckline here, and then you place the trend line, you take it from the neckline all the way down to see what would be your technical target. So what would happen here is we would retest the falling wedge that we broke out of, which would be a perfect entry, because on a technical level, what happens is once you break out of a resistance level, you tend to come back down, retest it as support, and then you continue. That way, you confirm that that is a support level from this point on. So all I'm saying is that if we lose this neckline here, you could have a pullback all the way down to the 1.414 at 53 cents, which is roughly where the resistance was of the falling wedge. So keep an eye on this. I would advise setting up a lot of buy limit orders throughout this area if you want to, catch that flash crash potentially. But obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, so you should do your own research at all times and do your own analysis. On the weekly chart, as you can see, we're moving up pretty quickly here, so I would be careful buying into Polygon Matic at this point, because it's pretty expensive in my opinion. Also, we're seeing at this support level play out here. So we're going to have multiple support levels here. And we're breaking through this light yellow resistance trend line, which is pretty cool. So we might come back down to retest that as support. So that's going to be a nice entry for you. Then you're going to have this yellow support trend line that we retested once in September, once in December. We might come back down for another pullback there, and your major resistance level here at 64.7 on the RSI. So that's pretty much it. I don't want to take any more of your time. Thank you all for watching. If you want to check out my Patreon, there's going to be a link down below in the description. There's a free 7-day trial. You can go ahead and see everything that I've posted for the past year, or even more than a year, all the low cap gems, all the podcasts that I've done. So you can go ahead and look through all of that, see if you like the content, and if you decide to stick around afterwards, I'd be grateful. So that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to see you in the next one. Goodbye and good night.